Hi, welcome to another session in this course. In this session, we are going to be looking at functions in Microsoft Excel. Functions are like customized formulas that are used to perform a particular task in a more efficient way. So, there are so many of them in Excel that it's almost impossible for an expert to need all of them. For example, let's look at the formula tab here. You can see these are functions, these are other functions. Under the financial group, these are functions. Logical group, functions, these are the functions there. Text, these are the functions there. Date and time, these are the functions there, and then so on and so forth to maths and trigonometry. However, there are some functions that are very common, and those ones are the ones we are going to be introducing us to in this course. As we continue our journey and based on the kind of domain or organization where we are working, we will start adding to this particular skill set. Now, in this session, we are going to be focusing on those aggregate functions. That is, functions that we can use to add things together, and they work usually for numbers. However, there are very few of them that can also work in respect to text. So, we are going to be starting with some of the ones here. So we have sum. The sum is used to calculate the total of a particular value or group of value. We have mean, we have median. So the mean, we use the average function to calculate the mean. We have the median. We have minimum function, which is mean, to calculate the minimum value in a particular group. Maximum, we have the mode. We can calculate the position of a particular value, like which value is in a particular position in a data set or in a group of data. We can count the number of items or values in a particular range and so on. So we are going to do this for this particular data set just to show us this how this particular group work. So I will press equals to, like I said before, in the formula tutorial, that we cannot use any calculation in Excel without starting with equal to sign, because this equal to sign is what makes Excel to know that whatever we want to do is a calculation and it will regard our entry as a formula. So when we want to do sum, you press sum. So by the time you press, you can see all of the options here. So I will click on this sum alone, and you can see that it is giving us this idea about what you need to do to make this particular function work. So this is number one, number two. So what it's telling us is that we just put those numbers there. So for example, you can say B2, B2. So then let's say B3, B3, and co. So, but usually you don't want to do this. What do you want to do? What you want to do is that you want to click on that particular data that you want to use. So just click like this and then drag it down. So you can see that it has shown us that particular range. So you see sum of B2 to B1, and then you can just press enter, and then we have the sum, that is the total for that particular range. So if I want to do the median, just press equals to, you can see the median. So the same thing. So I can just extend. Now the question is, what of if we have like 5,000 rows of data? Am I going to be dragging down like this? It's not possible. What am I going to do? I will just use the range referencing. So let's look at it here. So I'm coming. I think we did a mistake here. This should be average, not median. So average. So this one now is the median. So what you can do is, you know that our data start from B2 to B11. So you can just write it here. Let's use the formula bar. B2 to B11. You can see now. So that if you have a very long data set, just know where the column starts from and where the column ends, and just insert it into your function and you are good to go. Excel will take care of the rest. But if we have a very small data set like this, you can just be dragging the way I did in the first two episodes. You can see now, and then for minimum, so the function is main. You can see now main. So from maximum value, sorry, and then we can also do for mode. So we want to look at, you can look at a position. So we use, so the array, that is what we are looking at, like this, and then this k is representing what position. So we are looking at second to the last. So second to the last is like second, because the last, if we are sorting from smallest to the highest, the smallest will be the first, the highest will be the last. So if you are looking for second to the last value, then that should be the value 2. So we put 2 here, and then we press enter, and you can see that it is 13,000. But before we go, value 1 should be the minimum. So which means that if we put 1 here, whatever we get must be the same thing as minimum. So let's try and verify that. So you can see now it's 10,000, 10,000, which means that whatever you are getting is actually right. So you can put 2 here. So that is the second. Now, count. If we want to count the number of value in a particular range, you can use the count. But there is also count A. So we are going to see the difference between count and count A now. So let's write count. You can see that it's big count, count A, and count blank. So we use count blank if we want to count the number of blank in a particular range. So you can try that one on your own. So let's use count, and then from here to here, and then let's try count A. So let's use count A. And then let's start from here. And then, so you can see that count and count A here are the same. But let's see the difference. Now, and please, when you are working on your own, ensure that you are pressing Ctrl S and you are saving your work as you are doing something like this so that you won't lose your work. Now, I want to repeat the same thing here for the number of courses. So, the same thing, you see that? So, but the part is this, if what you want to get here for this particular column is the same thing as what you have gotten here, then you should remember what we did in one of the last or one of the previous sessions: cell referencing, relative referencing. So which means that I can just click on this and just drag it across like this, and then we have that. So we have 0 here because these are text, not numbers, so we can't expect anything here. And then we have 0 here too because there is nothing here, and then that. So you can see now that this is an example of how we use relative referencing. So we can also come for this and do the same thing for this too. So we have an error here. Why? Because we cannot do the same thing for text. So good. However, if you are in this type of scenario, you don't really need to be doing it one after the other. So you can just click on this and then drag it down and use this fill and do the same thing like this. It's as simple as that, and everything is done. So all these areas, I'm going to delete them. Good. Now, before we go, let us look at count and count A. In this column B, you can see that count and count A are both 10 and 10. Column C, 10 and 10, because there are 10 records in each of them. But column D, count says there is no record, while count A says there are 10 records, whereas there are actually 10 records. But I believe you should have seen the difference is that count A will count anything inside a particular range, whether it is a number or it is a text. Why count? We only count for numbers. So you can see here, count counted numbers, it counted the numbers, text it did not count. Whereas counted counted the numbers here, counted the numbers here, and also counted this text here. And that is why you can see that the same thing occurred here, the same thing has happened here again, and you can see here too. So that is how we use count and count A. So if you want to count the number of value in a text column, then you use count A. But if it is a number that you are counting, either count A or count alone will do the job for you.